So this is Compoveda Anejo. It's a single barrel Compoveda Anejo. It's from the same distillery as Reposado. The line of Compoveda tequilas are made at different distilleries. And this particular one is made at Tequila 3030 in Capilla de Guadalupe. This is an añejo that has 16 months in two different barrels. First 8 months in ex-whiskey barrels or Jack Daniels.
Okay.
And then 8 more months in French oak from ex-Napa Valley Cabernet wine casks.
Okay.
And so what 3030 is a distillery that is very popular in the region of Capilla de Guadalupe in some areas of Mexico. They've been working for like 30 years in making great tequilas. And this master distiller, Sixto Vera, he's been with the company like forever. He knows the production process like by heart, and he's one of those master distillers that are super committed to the process and to having the same consistency and quality throughout all of the time.
Okay.
And they make super affordable tequila and great quality.
Okay.
And what their philosophy is, they want to be known for a distillery that makes affordable tequilas. But I'm there and I'm like, man, you have great quality here. Why are you charging so cheap for tequilas?
Yeah.
And now they're starting to create different brands and different expressions, and they are getting out there with other products.
Cool.
So Compoveda made a Reposado with Tequila 3030 under master distiller Sixto Vera, and this is the same base of the Reposado but aged longer. So Reposado have different, it's 2 barrels also, whiskey and then the French oak of ex-Cabernet casks from Napa Valley. But they let it age longer in there, and this is the finished product. They did a single barrel problem. They did a single barrel program, and this is one of them. So
yeah, salud.
Salud.
I mean, I'm immediately picking up the barrel. Like, it's there, it's up front, but it's, again, still not offensive, beautiful. I can still taste tequila, I can still taste agave. It's not overpassed or overblown. I got an orange peel, almost like in the nose immediately. Like, that's what it keeps coming to mind. I'm not very good at nosing things, so like when I pick up on something and I finally realize and I see something, I get really excited. I'm like,
perfect.
I know that. I know that one note, and it's so exciting.
I know that feeling. It's super great. I like it too. It happens to me too all the time.
It's great.
And I also think that you can find it has those characteristics of kind of like the rich wines of the Jerez or the Madeiras, all of that, that have been aged for a long time, 5 years or so in barrels, because they use French oak. So the French oak to me is adding a lot of those layers of flavor in there. Okay. But also you get the dried fruit, you get the plum, you get like pasas.
Dry fruit. I got the dry fruit also now. What I love about it, it's almost, there's like a cream, almost, I want to say vanilla, but I want to say more like a cream in there that is just making it nice and smooth.
And I think that it's the texture also that helps give you that sensation. Yeah. Because it's not only the aroma, but also the mouthfeel that is super rich and it's velvety. Yeah. And you associate those flavors and aromas to that. I think you're right.
No, that's my favorite thing about the single barrels. It's just, a single barrel is so beautiful because it is the essence of what you had before, of your product line, of everything you build, but it's always something special because it's just that one barrel sat in that one part of the distillery or that one part of the aging room, the barrel room, sorry. But it literally, that could only happen in that barrel, and that's why I love a single barrel. It sticks out to me. It's just, damn, that's special. And I dig for those, and that's my biggest reason why I chase down single barrels so much. It's not because I think they're any more special, but at the same time, they are. It's that can never happen again. We blend to make things beautiful and consistent. This is not that purpose. This is the polar opposite. This is to be different. This is to stand out. This is to show you, hey, this is our product. Mm-hmm. This is just one essence of what makes our product. Yeah. And that's awesome to me.
Yeah, I love it. You're right. Absolutely. I also perceive some notes of, the natural sweetness is great, but there's this component of bitterness and just a tiny amount of bitterness, mm-hmm. just enough to invite you to continue drinking as really well-made tequila should be. Yeah. There's a balance. You need to.
Yeah. The balance of the bitterness, I definitely taste it. It's in the finish on this one for me, but it's not offensive. I like it, and the finish just fades away just the way you want it to. It doesn't linger, and it's just okay. And let me grab another one.
Yeah. What about the finish? What do you think of how this tequila ends up after you've drunk? And
for me, the finish it's like I said. There's where I'm getting the bitterness notes. I'm getting the bitter notes there. I'm getting the sweetness is like at that point mellowed out. It's got a pretty good coating on my tongue. I still feel it a few seconds later, even a few moments later, and but I really enjoy it because it's like, okay, it's got it's got my mouth coated correctly, I think, mm-hmm. but then it goes away so smoothly and so quietly. That's something I like. I don't want something that basically just hits me and then just stays, or just it's too much bitter, it's too much sweet, it tastes in a sense fake. Right. Where I'm not getting this from this. It's very pleasant. It goes away, and it's like it's inviting you to have that next sip.
I also feel like a little bit of tingling at the end of
right back here.
I think it's the wood, because
the tannins from the tannins.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. You say it. It's right there. I feel mm-hmm. it. It's on the back part of my tongue. It's great.
Yeah. The wine barrels have that. They are not as curated as spirit used barrels. Okay. And these are barrels that have only held wine in them. Yeah. And when we use tequila in those kinds of barrels, we get those aromas and those sensations that it's a little bit of the dryness, I would say, that the wood creates. Yeah. And the French oak creates in this case.
Particularly, yeah.
But yeah, also I feel it.
No, what I was going to say was, so when they use wine barrels like to make this product, and just anybody using a wine barrel, is it usually is it first fill? Do they use it multiple times? Because I know in tequila they reuse whiskey barrels repeatedly. Like mm-hmm. they burn them out, and then they literally burn them out again and use them again. With wine, I feel like you'd want the impact of a fresh wine barrel more so than you'd want one that's already held tequila and then held tequila again. And I'm sure there's uses for that, but how does it work?
When you use wine barrels and they're fresh, you can get some notes of the red fruits in there of the red wine. Okay. And you can those characteristics and notes are still in the barrel because it's fresh, and those are transmitted into the tequila. Those notes of the red fruits, you can get in there, but as any barrel, the more you use them, mm-hmm. the more wore down they become, and then they do not those, how do I say it? Those notes or characteristics mm-hmm. begin to mellow down a little bit. Okay. And the more pours or the more fills you do of the same barrel, you're gonna get less characteristics. But in the case of when you have had a low ABV product, just a ferment wine, let's say 15, 16% maximum.
Yeah.
Sitting in there, and then you add the spirit. You're gonna add tequila, probably a high proof,
Yeah.
at 50 or 53, depending on the distillery, 56 sometimes.
Yeah.
That's pretty aggressive to the wood. So most of the notes that are there and that are already in the wood will be soaked immediately, and will be absorbed by the product, by the tequila. And maybe the first run you're gonna get that.
Okay.
But in the second one, it's not as.
It's at that point it's a tequila barrel more so than anything else.
Yeah, but still it's French oak.
But that's where the effect is coming from.
Yeah, characteristics of French oak versus American oak are very,
cool.
very different.
That is very cool.
So Compoveda Tequila was born in 2018, and they've made tequilas at 3 different distilleries. They started making an extra añejo with Alberto Partida at Cava de Oro distillery. You should know the nom, because I'm not a number guy.
I should know the nom, but I don't.
1477.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm like, yeah, you're right, I should. Oh, man.
And then they made a reposado with in Capilla de Guadalupe in 3030 distillery with Compoveda, and that is nom 1068. One of the oldest noms out there. You know?
Yeah, because I imagine the lower the number, the...
Whenever you see a 10 there, it's one of the oldest distilleries.
Really? That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I imagine the number keeps growing up, so it can't go down.
The 1650 something, those are the new nom numbers given by the series. Yeah. And then... but it's funny because they started with an extra añejo.
Yeah.
And then they created a reposado after a blanco and a rosa, and now they're launching the añejo.
That's funny.
The blanco and the rosa were launched and made with Sergio Cruz at 1414 Feliciano Vivanco. And it's the only distillery that I know the number. I don't know why, because they promote it so much.
It's such an easy number to remember, 1414. Yeah.
I don't know if it reminds you to an extra añejo, or if there's because let's remember that in Mexico, aging happens super fast because of the weather.
Yeah, it's a desert. Yeah.
And in like those single malts, those whiskey products that we have 12, 15, 17-year-old in Mexico, that happens super fast.
Yeah.
So if you're aging a year and a half, or that will will take you a long way. So there are some. That's why there aren't many extrañejos that are super aged, more than 5 years, because then they become super oaky. It's hard to make an extrañejo that long.
They're no longer tequila. They become bourbon. They become things that sit in barrels for 10, 12 years.
They become whatever the barrel is.
Yeah.
Right. I would think this tequila is super nice to enjoy with a cigar.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think this product appeals to the consumer that is used to having, even if they're not like the typical tequila añejo drinker, but someone that's more into like rum or bourbon or cognacs, that will be appealed to this kind of product because the way it's aged and the characteristics of the flavors.
Yeah, no, it's definitely there. I agree. It's one of those things as an ex-bourbon drinker, like hardcore bourbon collector, drinker, this is definitely something that appeals to that part of my brain, for sure, without question.
Cool. You like that?